that I wanted to be on that show. It was a dream. Me and my dad would watch that show every single week religiously, and he would tell me, you're going to be on that show one day. This is how you're going to do it. This is how you're going to catch fish. You're going to win this challenge. You're going to be great at this. And we would watch it every week. And I would think, one day I'll be on that show. It was a dream. I was 10 years old. So I grew up, kept playing sports, kept surfing, graduated high school, didn't quite know still what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do when I grew up. So I found myself working at an office. I was a personal assistant, making decent money, but I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. Until somebody sent me a link for lifeguard tryouts. I knew what I loved, and that was the ocean. Okay, so I sat there at my desk, and I thought, where would I rather be right now? And that was the beach. And I happened to see a link for lifeguard tryouts that day. Tryouts were in 2 weeks from that day. I put my 2 weeks notice in that day at that office because I knew that I wanted to go be a lifeguard, making half the pay, but I knew it would make me happy. So I hit the pool every day. I swam, I tried, I practiced, and I went and tried out and I made it. So, long story short, took half the pay, but I loved the job every single day. When I made my first rescue that summer, I was hooked. Rescued a guy who had a seizure in the water while he was boogie boarding, brought him back to life. Twice the size of myself, brought him in. We resuscitated him and he survived, and that was when I knew that was what I was meant to do. So at the end of that summer, I became a lieutenant. At the end of the second summer, I became a captain of ocean rescue, and I did that for the next 5 years straight, and it was my passion. Along came that hidden passion that I knew was always there, was the show Survivor, but I thought was always just a dream, right? My dad would call. My dad's my best friend in the world, and we would talk over the years, and every once in a while I'd be like, did you catch the new episode of Survivor? And he would tell me about the challenge, and he'd be like, you'd be so good at this challenge they had last week, and he would always get really amped on it. And so we'd bond over that over the years, but I thought still it's just a dream, you know, it's never really gonna happen, until tryouts were at the port right up here one year. And he called me. He was the first one to tell me, make sure I saw it on the news that tryouts for Survivor were here. And so I was like, all right, Dad, I'll go, but there's no way it's gonna happen. This is just a dream. They're not gonna pick me because it's not gonna happen. It's unrealistic. But I went and I did my minute and I rambled like I'm doing now. I just rambled and talked about myself and then kind of forgot about it. 8 months later, I'm lifeguarding. I'm working the tower with another guard, and I get a phone call. And so I go inside and answer it, and they're like, hey, this is so-and-so from Survivor casting. We want to know if you're serious about being on Survivor. We need you in LA in a week. So, of course, like many of you would think, I thought it was a prank call. I'm like, all right, somebody's calling me from a tower over, just trying to play a joke on me, right? I'm like, there's no way. It's 8 months later. I've forgotten all about it. But they were serious. They wanted me to send a video, of course, first, and there was a little bit of slow motion Baywatch running, maybe. Might have attempted to eat a jellyfish or two. Don't really want to go into details there, but it made the video and it made the cut. Anything to make the cut, right? I figured at Survivor they wanted you to be crazy, so made my whole video right there on shift, well, with supervisor's permission, right there on shift on the beach as the lifeguard. So I'll fast forward. Made the cut. Went to meet Jeff Probst, all the casting people in a room, super nervous. I'm like, why are they going to pick me? But like all those subconscious things in my head that's like, they're not going to pick me. This is crazy. What I showed was confidence. What I sat there and showed them in front of them was that there was no reason in the world that they shouldn't pick me. And I said that to them. I said that to Jeff Probst. I said, you need me. You know, he asked me for some reason in the casting room, so who do you think is the most important person in this room? And I'm there with Mark Burnett, Jeff Probst, all the casting people, and I said, well, clearly you're all looking at me, so it's me. You know, but in my head, I'm like, I'm never going to make this. But I made it. Fast forward, I'm on a boat with a bunch of strangers. I'm playing this game that was just the most life-altering, revealing, unraveling experience you can ever imagine. It's as real as they want you to think it is. You're as starving as they want you to think you are. You're as dirty and hungry and miserable and sad and emotional as they want you to think that you are. Every minute out there is like an eternity. I call it my alternate reality because it's just a world away from the rest of the world. You're living in a time that no one knows where I am. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing, not really. And it's emotional. You're hungry, and you're wondering how your family's doing. And 36 days is how long I lasted out of 39 days. It doesn't seem that long when we're here in the world, and we have our phones, we have our distractions, and we have each other and things to do. But out there, you're just there. You're competing in a game that doesn't make sense because everyone's lying to you. You have no real friends, but you want to think that they are because that's what we're humans, and we're used to social interaction, and we need each other to survive. But what became very clear to me was what was important was not taking anything for granted, especially family. It was interesting. I thought 36 days wasn't that long without family. You know, we could go that long sometimes without reaching out to people, and it's not a big deal because we're all distracted. But out there, everything is under a microscope in your mind, and that's all you think about is what matters at home. Is it how much money I'm making? Is it the possessions I have? Is it the job that I want to satisfy other people with? No, none of that was anything. It was family. I'm a grown woman, and I couldn't wait to go home and crawl in bed with my mom and like my nieces and nephews and just be comfortable and be safe. And it's crazy how we take all these things for granted on our phones. You know, when's the last time any of you went a month and a half without your phone as an adult? Right? Never. We just don't do that here. When's the last time any of you went a month and a half without looking in a mirror? That part was wild. People don't think about that. You don't look in mirrors. You know, you look every day. You wake up and look in the mirror and you're like, that's me? Okay, on with my day. There. You forget that there's a camera in your face every day because you're just thinking about how do I survive this day. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter what anyone's looking at. It's just who am I and what decisions am I going to make and how am I going to react to the challenges ahead of me. So I lasted to day 36, didn't win, got voted off, but I felt so good about myself. I felt so good, and I've never really felt so good about decisions in my life that I made that got me that far, and the time I had to reflect and what I was looking forward to going home to. I was excited to see my family. I was excited to eat a lot. Still get really excited for that. But I got voted off, and I walked down the path, and they film kind of the first moments of yourself ordering your first meal and eating your first meal. They film you seeing yourself in the mirror for the first time, and I looked at myself, and for the first time ever, I knew exactly who I was on the inside, but in the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. I was thinner, I was 20 pounds lighter, much more tan, super dirty. And I didn't recognize myself physically, but that part did not matter. And that stuck with me a lot because those are the things that don't matter. What really mattered was my family and how I held my composure on the island, how I handled these situations that were tough. And, the hunger is really something to think about because while we're thinking, I'm so hungry, I'm starving, it hurts, I'm physically, all I can think about is how hungry I am. We lingered on the fact that there's people in the world that think this all the time, that are just feeling this as part of their life, that is their life. And we were just out there playing a silly game. So I came back with a lot of perspective on things like that, on what's really important in life. So coming back, I can go on a tangent about those things for forever and ever, for a long time. So I'll get away from that. But coming back was wild. I came back and see, it's this weird adaptation period where it's not on TV yet, but I just had this life-altering experience. It was in me, but no one knew about it yet. So I just had to go back to lifeguarding, back to regular life, back to doing what I felt was normal, but everything in me was different. My perspective on what I needed out of life and what really meant anything was different. So then the show would start to air, and it was this crazy thing that happened, back to normal, and then again, this crazy thing that was happening again. It's on TV, people are recognizing me, I'm just shopping at Publix, and people are like, oh my gosh. The main question I would always get the big question was, what's next? Like, what are you doing next? And I found myself just not knowing how to answer that question, as if what I had done meant that I had to do something more. You know, I accomplished that goal. The dream from since I was 10 years old was to go on Survivor. I got it. So then what's next? I don't know the answer to that. I didn't know the answer to that. Like, I'm just shopping for groceries on a Friday night in my pajamas just like you are. I don't know what's next. You know, like, what do you mean? Am I going to be famous? Am I going to go to move to LA? Am I going to marry Jeff Probst? I don't know. Like, I don't know what's next. And it was almost that thing, just like, is this not good enough? I reached that dream. Why is it not good enough? I'm lifeguarding again, back to normal life. And we just realized that, or I just realized that, as much as I thought that was going to be it, that was like that thing that was going to make me feel success. I was successful. I made this dream and I got it. It was still the question of what's next. So I went back to lifeguarding. People would continue to recognize me on the lifeguard tower and see that I'm still lifeguarding. And for some reason, I felt like that wasn't good enough. And that was all in my head because it was good enough. But I was talking to a friend one day, like, I need to do something else. There's something else in me. I should do more. I need to do more. And this friend reminded me, well, do you remember when all you wanted to do was be on the beach and be a part of nature, and you quit your day job to be a lifeguard, and you practiced to try out, and you worked hard for it, and you got it? Do you remember when you wanted to be on Survivor when you were 10 years old, and you went and applied, and you worked hard for it, and you got it? What do you want to do right now? He asked me, what do you want to do right now? And I knew that I loved surfing. I loved working on the beach, but it wasn't satisfying anymore. I needed a new challenge. And I told him, you know, it'd be really cool to tie those things together. I'm really good with ocean rescue, with safety. I'm a decent surfer at best, but I have fun with it. And I'm really passionate about teaching children the meaning of life that I learned on the island. What is it all about? And it's just about doing what makes you happy, being a good person, loving the people around you. And so in that conversation at lunch, I decided to start a surf school. And from then, it's been really good. That summer was the best. I always say that summer was the best adult summer of my life. Second best to when I started learning to surf was the summer where I started to teach to surf. And I found my ultimate purpose that summer, which was last summer. And there's nothing in the world that makes me that happy. You know, there's a feeling of riding the wave, you know, Missy, you know, Steph, you know. A lot of you guys know the feeling of surfing a wave is the best feeling in the world. But I genuinely feel like the second best, if not tied for first, is giving that feeling to someone else and watching them experience that and learning the joy that comes out of just nature and being on your own and really just indulging in what we're here for, and that's love and taking care of one another. So I realize if I can make a humble living off of giving that feeling to other people, then I am the epitome of what success means to me. And that's different to everyone. You know, a lot of people work very hard to get where they are in life, but if it's not truly what's making you happy in life, then it's never too late to decide one day over lunch, what do I want to do right now? And just make that happen. Because that's what Survivor kind of gave me, that freedom of taking me out of this world for a little while and giving me nothing but time and space to think about what's important and to not take anything for granted ever again. And this life is short, and we're so blessed to have every meal that we have and to have each other, because otherwise it's a really lonely existence, and we're super blessed. So every day, I guess my message is just to choose what do you want to do that day, what impact do you want to make that day, and make it happen, because we're only here for a short period of time, and it's not about how much money we make or what we possess. It's about what makes you happy and what makes other people happy and what you can do to really make your mark. So that's my mark, hopefully, is just teaching kids to be joyful and to surf. And if they don't like to surf, we'll build sandcastles if that makes you happy, or whatever it is that makes those kids happy, because they're our next generation, and surfing does a lot for all of us. I know a lot of us here, and it's a beautiful thing to get into, and I found that through realizing like what's important in life. So I appreciate you guys listening to that. Like I said, I could talk Survivor for days, but I won't. Thank you guys. Yeah. So I will say one thing though. I just came into Ohana Surf School. It was a locally owned business that I just became owner of, and when I heard the name of it, I immediately said that's mine, and that's the universe. The guy that was selling it was a family man. He's like, listen, we have Ohana Surf School. We were passionate about it, but we just can't run it anymore. Would you be interested? And the universe works in funny ways, because I always think when I was on that island, nothing but family mattered. It was so clear that was all that mattered, and Ohana means family, and my passion is surf, so it was just kind of, the universe works in really funny ways, and I knew immediately that was meant to be, and that was my new baby that I was gonna cherish. So that's where I'm at. I'm right across the street if y'all want surf lessons for kids or adults, but this is not meant to be a plug for that. It's just my reason for life right now. So that's that.